Hello and welcome to the Cantina Chatter podcast. My name is Victoria and I'm your host on this galactic adventure through all things Star Wars, film and television, toys, theme parks, video games, and more.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cantina. Jurassic Dave 93 here with Victoria. We're here to talk some Star Wars today. We're in the dead of summer. It is hot where I'm at. I think it's hot wherever you are in this North America area here. But yeah, we've got some trailers to go over. We've got Bad Batch to talk about. There's a lot going on. There's a lot coming to Disney Plus. But how are you doing, Victoria?
I'm doing really good, Dave. It's great to see you. It's great to talk more Star Wars TV. Of course, we're several episodes into the Bad Batch from where we left off last time you and I spoke. And now we have a preview of Star Wars Visions, and you're hearing a little more here and there about the Book of Boba Fett, which, is coming later in the year, and, various characters that may or may not be involved in it. Lots of rumors. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about Star Wars TV. There's a lot of content on the way. There's a lot of things for everybody. And right now it's all about the Bad Batch. That's the TV series that we're enjoying. So, yeah, we've come a little ways. I think last time you and I spoke, it was the 4th episode of the Bad Batch. And now we're 10 episodes in with another one coming this week, of course, on Friday. How are you feeling just overall about the Bad Batch and where things have gone since episode 4?
I like the show. It's not the best. It's not my favorite Star Wars yet, but we're here in the beginning. I've been doing a Clone Wars rewatch, and the first season isn't the best season, obviously. I think, like I've said a couple of times, I'm excited to see where they go, where they build on this, in more seasons if they have them. But yeah, it's entertaining. Not as entertaining, like I don't wake up on Friday morning like Mandalorian and want to watch it right away. But yeah, I'm here for it. I'm having fun with it. I do think maybe in the last 2 episodes we're getting some decent character development, which I'd really like to see. I like seeing that. But yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm enjoying it. I agree. It's not the best, pinnacle of Star Wars animation that we've seen. I mean, I think aspects of the Clone Wars were definitely that. Season 5, some bits of season 6, and then of course season 7 towards the end. Just incredible. And I like the Bad Batch in the sense that it is kind of continuing the Clone Wars in a sense, even though you don't have your Anakins or your Obi-Wans or your Ahsokas yet. You still have characters that played into that story, and you're still seeing the continuation of the Republic transforming into the Empire. And that's something that we have never seen play out before. We've read about it, and we speculated about what that might look like, but to actually see it unfold on screen has been pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And I do appreciate the show. I'm glad that it's here. I'm glad that we're getting to see all of that unfold, and some of the characters that have been appearing in the show as well. Tying it to other Star Wars is a really positive thing, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to hop on what you said there. That's my favorite part so far, is probably just seeing it's slow, but it's kind of dramatic, the turn from the Republic to the Empire. We don't have a whole lot of mention of the Force yet, but we're getting a lot of characters. You'd really benefit from watching the Clone Wars leading into this. We're getting a lot of characters shown back up in the first few episodes, and seeing Fennec Shand and stuff, and tying into Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. It's all really good stuff, and I really do. They're picking great characters. Haven't seen a whole lot of new characters yet, but the ones that they're bringing back from Clone Wars are probably some of people's favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some really good ones so far. We saw Fennec Shand. She ties into Mando, and really neat. It's kind of like the opposite. We've seen, not really, because obviously we saw Obi-Wan and Anakin and so forth in the movies. Then we saw them in animation. So it's kind of the same thing, live action to animation, but it's not what we've seen with Ahsoka or certain characters that have popped up in live action or are rumored to pop up in live action in the future. So it's a pretty neat thing. And, it makes sense to make those connections and to tie things in where they make sense to do so, and when they're not gratuitous. And so far, I feel like they're doing a pretty good job of not having people there just for the sake of having them there. I think the big one you're referring to, though, was a very recent appearance from a couple of weeks ago. And that's everybody's favorite non-Boba Fett bounty hunter, isn't it?
Yeah, Cad Bane showing back up. He's just probably one of the best, if not the best, bounty hunter in the Clone Wars. The whole show takes on a different vibe when he comes in. He's just so good at everything that he does. Yeah, I was excited to see him, and we get him in multiple episodes. And it was great seeing how the dynamic between the two bounty hunters, how they interact, and that we have multiple bounty hunters after Omega.
Yeah, totally. I'm glad Cad Bane is back. I mean, he was pretty absent from the end of the Clone Wars for a bit, and just seeing him again. We recently got his Black Series figure, so maybe that was like a little tease, like, hey, guess who's coming back? He's been kind of underutilized lately, and I know some people have said, oh, well, maybe he'll show up in the Book of Boba Fett, or I don't know, but it's great to see him in live action with his little buddy Toto in tow with him. Poor Toto.
Yeah, always getting taken advantage of. Yeah, but I'm really, I like to see more and more development of Omega. She's probably the star of the show, and if it's made for kids, she's got to be the one that the kids relate to the most. So I'm glad they're giving her things to do. They're developing her skills, showing what she can provide to the team and her specialized abilities. So I'm really happy we're going there with that. And hopefully, in the last episode we saw with the debts being paid off, it's not going to just be a mission of the week type, go do this, make money, go do this, make money. And, getting Crosshair back in there. I'd like to see more of him, because he's a pretty good villain so far. And whenever you can have a villain who used to be your comrade, if it's Anakin or whatever, it makes it a lot more powerful.
Yeah, no, for sure. It definitely makes it more emotional, and, it makes the stakes a little higher because, if you're going up against somebody who was your friend and, there's that conflict, of, oh, well, he's my friend, I can't kill him or anything. But I agree. He's a good villain. We have never seen a clone as mean as Crosshair. We have never seen a clone who's like this, antagonistic, and he's scary. He's
got some battle scars now. He's turned evil because he's got the scars now, just like everyone else does. Be excited to see if they expand upon that. Maybe that becomes more part of his character, his features or something.
Totally.
But yeah, I'm enjoying that character a lot so far.
Me too. I'm eager to see where things go, because you heard things earlier on with the team saying, oh, maybe we can. He doesn't. I think Omega said, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's his programming. What if they get his chip out? If they somehow manage to wrangle him and pin him down and get his chip out, will that change things? There's a lot of ways it could go, or he'll just continue to be bad and he'll do terrible things. And so there's I like that. I like not knowing, when you have characters that are a little more complex in this. They're not just an Admiral Price from Rebels, or they're not just some random Imperial. This is good. I'm eager to see where things go with Crosshair.
Yeah, and it's easy for the audience, us, to root against him because he was really only in 4 episodes of Clone Wars. We don't know him that well, but we're getting a lot of his sort of backstory and how the team feels about him, and that really develops that and helps us feel what they're feeling. And so hopefully they expand upon that, and I'm enjoying it so far.
Totally. Yeah, and you mentioned how Omega is largely there for the kids, to have somebody to relate to and to look at. Early on, I really liked Omega. I just thought she was so cool. It's oh, she's a female clone. She seems very wise, for a little kid. But I think as the season's gone on, they've kind of made her out to be more of okay, she is a little kid. She's very curious. She's not sure of how a lot of things work. She can be impulsive and emotional, and But I think that's good because you can see that bouncing off of, the team, you have like Hunter, who's constantly, he's kind of more like the daddy figure, right? He's like more her guardian, like more protective. And you kind of see what that dynamic is. Now there's a kid here, how do we have to adapt? How do we need to evolve? And they have kind of made their whole mission Omega, protecting Omega, seeing where they fit into the galaxy now that they're, rogue clones. So, I mean, it's an ongoing thing. They're obviously not settled. They're with Sid right now, and I think they feel like they have a good thing going, but I don't think that can last forever.
No, I'm not sure if we can totally trust her in the way that they think that they can. But yeah, I enjoy Omega, so far. She's doing the kid things in the way that a child would in real life. It's not so silly like episode 1 where she's just, flying around a spaceship and saving them every time by accident or, but it's done right so far. And I hope it keeps going. I hope it gets better. I think it will.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm really enjoying it so far. I've also noticed there's quite a few aliens in this series. Have you noticed that? Like just in the background or in passing, like we're seeing more like aliens than I think we did in a lot of Clone Wars. Like the populations of the planets they go to are more diverse. And I feel like that's kind of rubbing off a little bit from Resistance, because Resistance, they did have a bunch of alien species, and I feel like they're kind of incorporating, maybe not the designs per se, because the animation is a little bit different, just quite a bit different, but just some of those species are definitely making their way into the Bad Batch.
Yeah, whether it's intentional or not, I kind of think maybe it's a little more intentional, because you're starting to see the Empire take over, and maybe these people are being forced from their home worlds. Because, a lot in the Clone Wars was going to each planet, and every arc or every episode had that species specific to that planet that the Republic was coming in to help or stop the Separatists or something. But you see, what was it, the 3rd or 4th episode, where the people were trying to get away from the Empire. A lot of people need the credits. So there's definitely the Empire with its might and stuff coming in now is definitely, I think, fracturing a lot of the galaxy. And maybe it's intentional, maybe it's not, maybe that's what they're going for, just having, like a Cantina scene from the original one where there's just going to be so many aliens, dispersed all over the place. That's probably where we're headed.
That's actually a really good point. You definitely are seeing what that could look like. And, as you mentioned, we even saw that in an earlier episode in the season where the Empire came in and required everybody to confirm their identity with what were they, like chips of some sort or scan docs, or I don't remember exactly, but they wanted everybody to confirm who they were before they could leave the planet and this and that. And, so I think that's actually a really good point. I can definitely see how that could be the reasoning for seeing like a Mos Eisley Cantina or any number of situations where you do have all these displaced like species that are having to intermingle and all kind of going to where life's maybe a little bit better for them. And that's why they're showing up at Sid's, because I guess Sid is just a welcoming, loving character. Probably not, but yeah.
We'll see.
Totally.
But so, what'd you think about the reveal that Omega is a pure clone and is the sister of Boba Fett?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I know there was a lot of speculation before that. Oh, she's got Jedi DNA, or she has. My theory was that she just had all of the abilities of the different Clone Force 99 members. Yeah. But yeah, she's just a phase 1 like regular clone. It sounds like she's unmodified, just the same way Boba was, where no growth acceleration. She's first generation. I mean, I do have questions like, why is if she, I mean, I guess you can clone somebody and change them from male or to female or vice versa, but that just kind of like make it a little more interesting. It's like, how did they do that? They're Cheminone cloners. I'm sure they have crazy technology we're not even aware of, but no, it's cool. She is a clone, and she's not just another. If she were like a male, like Boba Fett clone kid, it wouldn't really mean a whole lot. Okay, Boba's got a brother. All right. But Boba has a sister. Yeah, I feel like that makes it a lot more interesting. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, she'd be like a sister. Yeah, so that has me like a little excited. That hasn't like I mean, we never saw her obviously in the original trilogy. We haven't seen her in any other Star Wars outside the Bad Batch. So I would like to see how that plays out, like where her story goes, where she ends up. Does she become a bounty hunter? Does she choose some other sort of trade? Does she follow maybe what Clone Force 99 is doing, which is they're not quite bounty hunters, but they're out running like a lot of errands and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Does she take a position in the New Republic, or does she work for, any of the characters that we knew in the original trilogy? It's just a lot of options. Again, just like with Crosshair, we don't know where things are going to go. Same with Omega, even to an even higher extent, because her story could really go anywhere, especially given her background.
Yeah, and then you see some of the like, I don't know what you want to call them, resistance people. We ran into Trace and Rafa and Rex and stuff, and they're fighting for something. It's not really, we don't exactly know what it is yet. Maybe this is the beginning of what will become the Rebels. But maybe she has something to do with that, because this is where she's going to be learning a lot. And it seems like the Bad Batch wants to do what's good, what's right. And they're obviously not, falling in line with the Empire. So maybe she ends up somewhere there, as a resistance rebel leader or something like that.
Yeah, could very well be. Maybe she'll show up in the Ahsoka show or the Book of Boba Fett. Like, who knows? Could be really interesting wherever they decide to take that story, if they continue to utilize her. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting too to see if Boba Fett, I guess he'd probably be like a teenager, would maybe show up in this show. It seems like, when we last saw him in Clone Wars, he's a few years older than Omega is now.
Yeah, so you see, that's something that kind of confused me a little bit, because if they are Generation 1 unmodified clones, like, or, overall unmodified, shouldn't they be the same age? Like, I feel like, if they're both from the very beginning of the whole clone lineage thing, I mean, shouldn't they... I mean, I don't know how old exactly Boba is. He was probably like 12 in Attack of the Clones, 11, 12, something like that. So this is, 3 years later. So yeah, he's like a good 14, 15 at this point. I feel like Omega's closer to maybe like, I don't know, 12, 13.
Yeah, probably. I was thinking 11, 12. So
yeah. So yeah, that's, hopefully those are questions they'll answer, because I can see that being one of those things where they don't really give you an answer and you kind of have to figure it out on your own. But I do hope we get an answer for that, because that's, other than her being female, yeah, she does seem to be a little bit younger. She doesn't, she's not as mature as Boba, which, Boba was riding alongside Jango all his life. So you kind of had to adapt pretty quickly, and, learn from Jango. So
yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. No, it's been a fun show. It's, if nothing else, I'm glad that we have weekly Star Wars to tune into, and like this, have discussions about what we liked and where we think things might be going. So I think the last that we saw, that was the episode Common Ground, where they had to go to a former separatist planet, Raxus, and kind of ally themselves with a former separatist. And they had, Hunter had reservations about that, Echo had reservations about it, but ultimately they did it. That's where you get the title Common Ground. I thought this planet that they went to was really nice. What did you think?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like Naboo or something. It was very like pretty and clean looking. I really enjoy seeing like what the clones are up to now, and how they look more like stormtroopers, and their paint and their weathered dirtiness is gone from their armor, and they're just more white, more uniform. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of just plain white stormtroopers. We're seeing less and less of the different factions and legions, and it's just more like grunt white, all white armored stormtroopers. And yeah, that's cool. We need to get figures of that though, because in both scales we need figures of that, lots of them that are not exclusives. Yes, they are. So hard to get a hold of.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a neat planet, and just kind of branching off from that episode, Omega's back with the group, obviously. And yeah, at the very end of this episode, I do want to mention they kind of or Sid was kind of exploiting Omega a little bit, wasn't she? Like just trying, like getting her. She was basically gambling, which I find kind of an interesting thing that they did for this particular show. But it kind of leaves off with Hunter just testing her and seeing how good she is. But I wonder, like, if that's a clue to where her story goes, or if it's just like, she's just really good at different things, at strategy because she's a clone, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think they mentioned that about her being really good at strategy. I think Omega herself said it. But I kind of think it was just a way to show that she could take care of herself, that she had value while the group wasn't there, and earned her a little bit of respect from the rest of the crew, that she and showed to the audience, that she's not just helpless, that she needs the Bad Batch, the rest of the crew, to help her all the time. But yeah, adds a lot to the development.
Yeah, totally. It'll be interesting to see where things go with the whole story. Like maybe a week ago, I could have sort of kind of guessed a little bit about what was to come, but for this week, I feel like the last episode, they wrapped things up pretty well, so I really have no idea what's coming the next episode, so I can't speculate on that at all. Yeah,
I don't know. You could say maybe some like hopes and stuff. It would be nice if they ran into some sort of Jedi that escaped Order 66. If they want to call it back into someone that was in Clone Wars, I don't know. It seems what they're doing a lot of. But I yearn for the Force, I guess, and the show really isn't giving it a whole lot of it, and it's not bothering me yet. But if they don't want to do that, that's fine too. I'm not going to stop watching.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, so I'm excited to see where things go. We'll have another episode by the time this episode of Cantina Chatter premieres. So yeah, we'll definitely catch that, and then subsequent episodes during our next chat.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So I think we did this last time. Are there any characters that you've seen in the Bad Batch that you think would make a really great action figure?
I don't know. I haven't been thinking that when I've been watching the show, so I don't know yet. Any background characters? I can't think of anything specifically.
I mean, I know they would probably never do it, but I kind of want an action figure of Sid.
Yeah, good call. Yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. Would it be, how big is she? Would it be deluxe something or other?
It might have to be.
Series?
It might have to be. Yeah, it might have to be deluxe. Then we know Omega's coming, and I hope she comes with her, like, what do you even call her, crossbow, like an electro crossbow, sort of thing. I hope she comes with that. Yeah.
Seems like that's going to be her weapon of choice, to her little distinction amongst the Bad Batch.
I like that too, because that's not really a weapon we see too much of in Star Wars. I mean, Chewie has a crossbow, but it's, for all intents and purposes, it's just a blaster. So I like that hers is actually like an energy bow of some sort.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope it has some of the stuff, maybe some things that we haven't seen yet, because it always stinks when they model it off of like the pilot or something, and then 2 or 3 episodes in, a character has a major change, and then you don't have that updated version of the character, or a season 2 character, or whatever it is. So yeah, whatever they give us, hopefully it's more representative of how she is. Here we are a little bit past halfway of the first season.
Yeah. We also see what became of Taun We after all this time.
Yeah.
Poor Taun We. Oh man. She just seems so nice in Attack of the Clones, and formal, and not nice maybe, but just like formal, and yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll clone her, right? That's actually, if you think about it, do clones clone themselves? Or sorry, do Kaminoans clone themselves? I mean, they have the technology to never lose one of their offspring, to never really, in a physical sense, die. Do they clone themselves? I
don't know. I don't know if I've thought of that.
I haven't either until just now. Yeah, no, who knows? Anyway.
Deep thoughts for another time, I guess.
Yes.
For someone who knows more about Star Wars than me, probably.
yeah, and then me. All right, so Star Wars Visions.
Yeah.
So this is one of those animated series that was announced sometime back when they were announcing all the Star Wars content that was to come. Did you get a chance to check out the preview that just came out a few days ago for Star Wars Visions?
Yeah, I watched it a couple days ago. I quickly rewatched it before we hopped on here. Honestly, it's one of those shows that I kind of forgot about. You know, there was a lot announced back, I guess that was December.
Yeah.
And there's so many other things that excited me more, you know, Ahsoka and all these other shows that Book of Boba Fett coming. So I'd forgotten about it. It looks interesting. Would not call myself a fan of anime. I just never kind of got into it, but I'm definitely here for, you know, reimagining Star Wars in a different way. Yeah, and it looks good. And from what I saw, I guess I read one of the stories on Star Wars Newsnet, and some stories will be canonical and some will not. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a little weird to me. I feel like it should be one or the other. Or just make it all not, you know, just make it an alternate thing.
Yeah,
you know,
like
that'd
a what
be okay.
if or something. Or
Yeah, but to say some of it's canon, some's not, to me that's just weird, and to me that's just like inviting a lot of controversy.
yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of upset people if they don't at the beginning of every episode have like a stamp saying like this is canon, this is not canon, because that will definitely be argued about amongst and questioned amongst the fan base.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a weird detail, but you know, I'm also not the biggest anime fan. I mean, I do enjoy some of it. I do like Dragon Ball. I do love the art. I think the art looks fantastic. When I went to Japan a few years ago, I was just, they have that art everywhere. It's like in the subway, it's like on advertisements, it's like public like messages. Like they use, you know, animate it to do that and to advertise and stuff. So I mean, it's like everywhere. But and I just think the art's really cool. I think it's just very unique, and you know, it's very specific to you know, that anime style. And I mean, I kind of feel like it works for Star Wars. Like, you know, they're doing all kinds of things with Star Wars. There's different kinds of animation within Star Wars. There's live action. There's video games. There's everything else. So I don't think it's a bad thing to try different things. I think they're still kind of trying to find things that work and things that don't work. So I don't know if that's where that comes from, but I don't really mind it. I think from what I've seen, it looks really neat. And when you think about Star Wars, I mean, it has a lot of the same things you would see in a show like Dragon Ball. You have like force powers, you have like force spirits that come back. You have like, you know, a lot of those elements are already there. You know, the spirituality of it. You know, just the whole mystery and, you know, the way the universe, intergalactic thing, aliens, like, I mean, all of those elements are already in place with Star Wars. So I feel like it's kind of a natural fit to try an anime style show.
Yeah, I think from what I saw, it does look very beautiful. I like the one interpretation of the lightsabers that the hilt had like a top piece to it. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to do story-wise, and maybe in some of the non-canonical episodes, if they're going to tie in more like Japanese culture into the story of Star Wars. I'd be down for that. But yeah, it seems like they've put a lot of time and effort into it, and it looks like it's going to be quality. It's not going to be something that's just, you know, willy-nilly. So
Yeah. Absolutely. They have the right people on board. You know, they have, you know, people that have done this all their lives, professionals like coming in to do this. They're not just using random people that they have at their disposal. Like they have a legit team from like a lot of them from Japan that are coming in to do this. And, you know, so they're doing it right. I think it's stylistically, it's going to look beautiful. I think, for me, it's going to come down to the story. You know, are they retelling certain things? Are they just exploring new things? I mean, with the title Visions, I mean, it kind of already sounds like it could dabble into like alternate, you know, timeline or, you know, multiverse sort of territory.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it. But that, for me, I'm sure it's going to look great. It's going to sound great. It already looks great. I think it's going to be more for me like the story. Like, you know, what is this about? You know, what is it doing for the totality of the story of Star Wars? Is it kind of just its own thing? If so, that's fine. Are they changing things within the canon? Or, I mean, that's kind of a little bit of a gray area right now, I feel like, with this. And, you know, that detail that you mentioned, how it's not all canon, but some of it is. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think from what I'm seeing here, it says that it's going to new tales from across various time periods in the galaxy far, far away. I'd be excited to look at new time periods, things that we've never seen on screen before. Go back High Republic, before Phantom Menace, or maybe even after Episode 9, see what's going on, because it seems like Star Wars regrouping here is kind of huddled around the original trilogy. Bad Batch is getting closer to Episode 4. And we see a lot of Mandalorian, and definitely post Return of the Jedi. So yeah, give me some. I want to see more of what the Jedi might have been doing 1,000 years in the past and stuff. Like where the High Republic is set right now. And again, give me a story tell me what Rey does after Episode 9. If it's canonical or not. I'd be there for that.
Yeah, and I think a show like this does work well in that respect, because there's a lot of parts in Star Wars in the story, different time frames, like you noted, that we haven't explored, that we haven't seen, and it's difficult for them to make continually do like movies or series that are based only about let's just throw out a number, 100 years before the Phantom Menace, or 100 years after the Rise of Skywalker. But if you can use a show like this that kind of goes and hits a lot of those marks, what was going on with Darth Bane, we actually get to see stuff with him, or Darth Revan, or just odds and ends, like things right after Empire Strikes Back. Maybe we see Boba transporting Han and Carbonite. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be touched on, and I think that's kind of exciting. I just hope that, and maybe this is where that some of it's not canon comes from, I just hope that some of it doesn't kind of box them in, and not be able to create content around that time frame at a later period, because I kind of feel like they've done that a little bit. The big one that comes to mind for me is Maul versus Obi-Wan in Rebels, because then he did come back in Solo, and then that kind of opened the door for more Maul, and maybe he could have been a bigger player in the Obi-Wan TV series. So I just hope they don't box themselves in. I mean, it's such like a far off part of Star Wars content. It's pretty far removed from the films. It's even far removed from Clone Wars and Bad Batch and Rebels and stuff. So I don't see that being an issue, but I just hope it doesn't box them in too much to where they can't or will be hesitant to explore things because they feel that they've already covered that.
Listen to you talk right now, I'm thinking maybe this is really smart of them to classify this as not canon, because it seems like like people predicted, they're having a hard time keeping the canon together. People had complained even at the start of Bad Batch, that what happened to Kanan wasn't exactly how it was written in the comics or the books, and what you mentioned about Maul and stuff like that, and they are boxing themselves in. I know they're keeping good track of what people are watching on Disney Plus, which is going to be the hub for Star Wars here for the foreseeable future. So if they strike gold with something, and maybe they're testing the waters, to see where does Star Wars go after we run out of ideas with these characters right around the original trilogy time, and just see what people are rewatching, what people really like in these stories, that they're definitely, it seems like they're going to have a lot of creative freedom, creative liberties and stuff to just really what's next for Star Wars, and not box themselves in, that they can tell a story and say, we liked this part of it. It was really popular. Let's throw this part out, and now this will be canon in something else. But yeah, you really got me thinking there. I think maybe this is a smart series. Maybe it is a lot more consequential in Star Wars than we realize, but that'll remain to be seen after we get it, I guess, sometime this fall.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm definitely looking forward to it, and it'll be here before we know it. So, more Star Wars isn't a bad thing. There's Star Wars for everybody, and this will be another way to express it and maybe draw more fans in. And I think that's always a big thing, no matter whether you're talking about movies or collecting or what have you. If you have more people with their eyes on it, there's going to be more people interested. The companies or production are going to want to make more of it, and more and more and more. So, not a bad thing to have more Star Wars.
Yeah, and if they draw on some anime fans who maybe aren't Star Wars fans, and it gets them into, some of the Clone Wars or whatever, into these other series and stuff, and like you said, yeah. And I'm going to say I'm a little jealous right now of Disney Plus with the Marvel series. Seem like it's just like one after another, and they're all great. And I know our time is probably coming next year or the year after, But yeah, if what Marvel is doing right now is indicative of where Star Wars is going, we should all be very excited.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, they're doing a really good job with the Marvel series, that's for sure. There's a new Loki episode to watch, isn't there? I just realized.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna hop on with the family after we're done here and check that out.
Nice, I'm gonna do the same. So there's a lot of good stuff coming out of Marvel, and maybe it'll be the same with Star Wars. I mean, I know that with Star Wars, you do have these huge gaps in time, the prequels, the OT, the sequels, and so maybe the connections aren't quite what they are in some of the Marvel series, but there's potential there. I mean, I think they've said that the Book of Boba Fett is a spin-off of The Mandalorian to some extent, and then Ahsoka maybe ties into that somehow as well. So, I mean, if so, then you're making those connections. You're just tying them into various Disney Plus series, which is fine too.
Yeah, I mean, they have the right people in place with these live action series with Favreau and Filoni. And yeah, I mean, it took Marvel, they're like 10 years in now with these movies. And it's only been, when did Force Awakens come out? 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
So yeah, they've had some stumbles and stuff, and hopefully they can regroup and it's future's bright.
Yeah, future's bright. I mean, and it is hard to completely compare the two because, Marvel has been nonstop, like you said, for the last 12, 13 years. And, Star Wars goes back to the 1970s. So, I mean, it's, it's not a fair comparison to look at one and the other and see what they're doing, so. But yeah, lots of stuff is coming. I can't even imagine, if you have multiple Star Wars series running, what that would look like concurrently, But maybe we'll get there. There's a lot of stuff coming for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have asked me in 2019, or told me what was happening with the television series, I'm not sure I would have believed it. But there was a time when we were excited at possibility of 2 movies a year, and we could be looking at series after series, 3 television series a year. And man, this is going to be a lot of fun.
To that, I just say that I hope Hasbro and all the licensing, companies are prepared for this, so that we're not waiting 3 years to get a main character from a movie or a show. And I hope that they have stuff. I hope that they're working more closely with Lucasfilm than they've suggested they have in the past, because I know it's really important to have some of those key players ready to go when the show premieres. So let's hope that that gets better. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, we want to live the glory days of our youth, right? Where we could go see the movie and go out and pick up the merchandise. And it's like, oh, you liked the Bad Batch or whatever. Okay, well, pre-order this figure and you'll see it in 3 months or whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I've said this before, a lot of the times that me personally, the toy will get me even more excited for the movie or for the show. Because I'll see this really interesting looking character, or it'll come with some accessory. Oh, I wonder how this works. And the merchandise really gets me excited. So you're right. That is a relic of the past, when we used to have those big midnight Star Wars launches for the prequel trilogy and the Clone Wars, and the good old days. I
don't think it's all Hasbro's fault now. I mean, I've got 2 little girls. What comes to mind is it's on Disney Plus, actually. You heard of the show Bluey? It's like an animated show about a family of dogs and stuff, and it was really popular. Lots of the kids liked Bluey, and it took them about a year to get toys on the shelf. And that's what my girls want. When they watch something, they want to go out and they buy the toy, and it doesn't seem to be just the older properties like Star Wars or the Marvel Legends or whatever. So I don't know. It's just the toy, where the toy industry is moving, I presume. Based on my kids' buying habits.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the toy industry, and consumerism, and globally the pandemic's changed things a lot. With how things are made and produced, and what timelines that looks like, and not to mention just collectors aren't. There's still a lot of us. There's probably more people buying toys now than there were a decade ago, but collecting doesn't look like it did 15 years ago or 20 years ago. I mean, that's. I guess there's just so many things now, right? There's not just action figures anymore. You have all kinds of options available to you some that are virtual and aren't even like a physical, tangible thing, which like kind of like kills me, because why would I want to pay for something that I'm never going to have in my hands and be able to manipulate? So.
I'm so happy for the streaming services and the streaming movies, but I'm going to be very upset the day when I don't get to buy the new Star Wars Blu-ray, and I'm not going to get to own Mandalorian on a disc set. We're collectors. I like to hold the physical thing. I even collect records. I like having a vinyl record in my hand, looking at the jacket and the artwork and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where we're moving to, and everything's going to be digital. And I know I said I wouldn't do it. Now I rent my music on Spotify. I don't even buy the CDs anymore. So yeah, hopefully we're not picking up any digital versions of vintage collection figures or something in the future.
Oh, no. It's like they're on your phone. Like, look what I just found. I found it. Like, you got to go to Target, but then like, if you're lucky, like it'll have like a tag and you scan it. Oh, I got it. Look, I found it at Target. No. Let's not go there. That Just as long as I can be in the digital environment with it and hold it like virtual reality style, maybe. Yes,
when we all plug into the Matrix or something.
Right, or unplug from it. But no, I hear you. I'm right there with you. I have a record player with a stack of records, just inches away from me here.
Oh, cool.
I like owning the stuff too. I mean, I don't really buy CDs anymore, but I still have like a tower of CDs, like, and I have for all my favorite films, I definitely like to buy them. I mean, I have all the Star Wars Blu-rays. I have all, the Dark Knight trilogy, like the Burton Batman films, the Jurassic films. I mean, all that I have, and a lot of others. I own actual, physical copies. But yeah, the power goes out, right? Internet outages happen. So if you want to watch something, the only way to do it's if you have like the Blu-ray. So
yeah, and then like, it's a shame too. Some of these movies that are being lost that haven't been converted to Blu-ray or DVD, and there's no video stores anymore, and then the streaming rights aren't picked up. So yeah, if you can own what you want on the newest format and stuff and just always be able to watch it, I just hope that the physical side of collecting things, whatever it is, doesn't go away.
Right, and you can't always stream things without paying for them anyway. Like, I watch a lot of, I love watching TCM, the classic films, and some of those are only there for like a month at a time, and then they're gone for like a year. So I mean, like, if you don't have the Blu-ray on some of your favorite movies, it's like, okay, well, you're gonna have to pay to download it. And I don't like paying to download things. I like paying to own things, like tangible, like physical copies. So I guess that's an old school thing. I guess mentalities are changing, and like we do use a Tidal to like stream our music. We pay for that service, and but for films, I think it's a little. I feel a little more inclination to own them than I might for like a CD or an album, because you can listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube anyway, for free with ads. But for films, I definitely feel like when you own it, I think that shows you, it's a little more of an expression of how much you like that film, that you went out and bought it. So,
yep.
All right. So the next series that we have on tap, of course, is the Book of Boba Fett. That's the next live action series. And that is dropping sometime around the holidays later this year in December. And, I'm really excited. I've missed not having Mandalorian or any Mandalorian trailers or set images or just nothing, and, it's kind of a bummer that we're gonna have to wait a while longer to get that third season. But if Book of Boba Fett ties into it somehow, and we see some crossover there, then I think hopefully that'll be just as satisfying. I mean, we're getting more Boba Fett, so it's gonna be good, I would assume. But speaking of the book, or did you have a thought?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, we're getting like clockwork. Around Christmas time is our Star Wars time now. I'm definitely going to be missing that this year. Boba Fett, I guess, will be coming out end of the year, beginning of next year.
Right.
But it was like clockwork. Set your clock to Mandalorian time, family time, Christmas time. But yeah, I'm super excited for the return of live action. That's, I think, everyone's favorite. That's where it's at. If you can get something live action, it's just the best. But
right.
Yeah, so some news recently dropped about the directors of Book of Boba Fett, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we got a little bit of a glimpse of who is going to be directing the episodes. This comes directly from Tamora Morrison, Tamora Morrison, he had an interview pretty recently, and he talked a little bit about the directors. So for this first season of the Book of Boba Fett, he mentioned that we're going to see some of the names that we saw already for Mandalorian. So that's Robert Rodriguez, Jon Favreau, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Dave Filoni. So I don't know if there's going to be more than this. These are at least the ones that he mentioned. And I know that they had some very solid episodes, and their history with Star Wars is starting to build as we see them direct more episodes within this Star Wars TV format. So that, I'm good with that. I think it sounds like they kind of want to tie it in a little bit to Mando, and if you bring in some of those same directors to kind of get some of the same beats, then to me that makes good sense.
Yeah, it's just good, continuity. The crew and a lot of these actors were in Mandalorian, are used to working with these directors on their episodes for Mandalorian season 2. Yeah, and if it's true to the rumors that they want to have some sort of like Mando verse, as I've heard some people online call it, it can't be bad. The more these people get used to working with each other, I think the better the product will be.
I agree. Yeah, no, they're continuing on to establish those relationships and build on them. And when you have people that have worked together multiple times over, then I think it's natural for the product to come out better and better. So this makes sense. And, I'd have to assume maybe there's going to be other directors too. Maybe there are some new ones in there that haven't been officially announced. But, knowing that there will be some continuity there, I think is pretty promising.
Yeah. Again, if it ties into Ahsoka, maybe they'll have some of these directors also on the Ahsoka series. Maybe they want to bring people on from that have directed other things in the other live action Star Wars. But yeah, not a whole lot to talk here. Just, we're getting this drip of news means we're getting closer and closer to seeing Boba Fett on our TV screens again, which I think, so many people love that character so much. And I think it's going to be really, really popular, as popular as Mandalorian, if not more. Yeah,
absolutely. This information came from express.co.uk, in which Tamora Morrison gave his interview. And another thing that he mentioned is that the show is it's in the timeline of The Mandalorian. And he says that it's a duo thing. So he says Ming-Na Wen is going to be in there, of course, as we know. He says she's playing the master assassin, Fennec Shand. And he says that we got to look at the timeline. We got to look at where Boba has been, and we got to keep the fans happy. So, I don't have any qualms with anything that he said there in this interview.
No, more Boba Fett. People love it. It's going to be awesome.
People love it, and we're finally getting to really appreciate Boba Fett as a character, not just some random, really cool looking character. That's his whole appeal for the last 4 decades has been that he just looked really cool and he sounded cool, and he caught Han Solo, and that's been like the appeal, is that he's mysterious, we don't know a lot about him. And when there's mystery there and you don't know a whole lot about a character, you can put any backstory in your mind that you want. You can make them up to be however awesome you want them to be. We got him in the prequels, but seeing him as the fully fledged bounty hunter Boba Fett, like in Mando, I think was a long time coming, and made a lot of people happy, and it kind of vindicated those of us who were saying, we're Boba Fett fans. Well, why are you a Boba Fett fan? He doesn't do anything. Now he does. So I'm happy to be a longtime Boba Fett fan, and I think this is going to continue to unfold his story, post Return of the Jedi, and maybe even it'll go back beyond that. Who knows?
Yeah, no, everything you said, awesome. I just hope the fan base goes in with an open mind, because now we're going to be laying his story down into canon, and anything that might have been said in Legends or anything else, or like you said, the personal feelings of people who are just really big Boba Fett fans. No one, takes exception to it or something like that. And let's just all get along as a happy fan base, and just be happy that we have such an awesome character with, a lot to do and a lot to say now. Yeah, absolutely. And who knows, maybe we'll get a flashback to Daniel Logan back as a sub-adult Boba Fett or something. Yeah. Who knows? Anything can happen. But yeah, I mean, just keep this steady drip of information coming with the Star Wars series, and it's getting closer to being real with every news story that breaks. And yeah,
and
bring
it's
on
getting
the fall.
absolutely, and it's getting closer to like where we would traditionally have Comic-Con. So maybe we'll get a trailer soon.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I hope we get a trailer soon for Book of Boba Fett. Well, Dave, this has been really fun. Thank you for coming on here and talking Star Wars TV. I think we've done a pretty good job talking about the Bad Batch, getting caught up with that, and a little bit about Star Wars Visions and the Book of Boba Fett. And I'm looking forward to the next time that we do one of these. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more to talk about as in addition to Bad Batch regarding some of these other series that are forthcoming.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that we have the Bad Batch to take us through this kind of lull of Star Wars now that we don't have a live-action series or a movie. But yeah, everyone just keep watching, keep loving the Bad Batch, and, more news will break, and we're getting closer and closer to more Mandalorian, more Boba Fett, and yeah, everybody
totally
stick on for the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dave, where can our viewers and listeners go to look you up online?
I'm on Instagram and Twitter under Jurassic Dave 93. Start up a conversation or whatever. I don't post as much here. A little busy this summer, but yeah, I'm still there. I haven't gone anywhere, and let's talk some Star Wars or some Jurassic Park or whatever.
Nice. Or on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Yep. I got a small YouTube channel, Jurassic Dave 93. Just a handful of videos. Some older stuff. Got to get some new content out there sometime soon, hopefully.
Awesome. Well, I'll put links in the show notes to all these places. Definitely go and check out Dave if you're not already. I'm sure most of you are. But yeah, it's been fun, and looking forward to doing this again.
All right. Thanks a lot, Victoria. Be great to see you next time.
All right, Dave. Thank you. Take care. All right. And thanks, everybody, for listening and for watching this episode of Cantina Chatter Podcast. Looking forward to seeing you again. If you are watching here on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Be sure you're subscribed to Victoria's Cantina here on YouTube. Let us know in the comments, what is your the thing you're most excited about in terms of the upcoming Star Wars Visions or the Book of Boba Fett. I'm sure there's a lot of exciting thoughts that we have about that. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave us a 5-star rating. Remember that you can subscribe to the show anywhere you get your podcasts. Be sure to follow Victoria's Cantina on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And also check out our spin-off shows, the Vintage Collection Podcast, Collect Jurassic World, and Discoveryland. Until next time, my friends, thank you for tuning into the Cantina Chatter Podcast. Be well, be safe, may the Force be with you no matter where you're listening out in the galaxy. Take care. Bye-bye.